we know this is not your life. We will have conversations with them, and they will literally struggle because that is not their life. And it's like, well, you can't do that because you have this missing piece. So of course this doesn't align with what you're posting. Like, you're almost posting your future life
before it's happened.
Yeah, and you're messing up your current situation.
When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. That you might work.
Welcome back to another episode of the Michel Matters Podcast. I'm Jocks Michel.
And I'm Jackie Michel.
Welcome back.
Hey, guys.
Episode 70?
Yes.
Yeah,
that means there's 5 left.
Yeah, we usually do, like 25 a year.
Yeah.
And then we take our little break and then we kick it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what's been going on the last couple weeks? Let's catch people up.
We went to Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we stopped in Daytona.
And that was a process. Oh, man. So, we the whole plan was we were going to leave because we ended up going. The trip was from Friday to Monday.
Yeah.
But I wanted to leave. It was Friday to Monday.
Okay.
But we, the actual trip, we went with some people. And the trip was from Friday to Monday. But, I thought it would be a good idea to leave, the night before and kind of get a head start on the trip. Because from here to Savannah, it's not that bad. It's
really not
7-8 hours. But
we could have did it in a day. But you don't like driving for a long amount of time. Only because
I only would like to do if I was in a rush or something. But if I have time, and that's the thing, I want to take my time on vacation. I feel like if I leave the night before, even if we, stop somewhere for the night, I feel like I got more bang for my vacation.
Yes. Yeah.
So, so we left Thursday. Well, we were supposed to leave Thursday, afternoon. That was the plan. It just didn't work out that way.
No. So I got stuck pretty much working with a client. It didn't have to be that way. I was just trying to be nice. And as you guys, I've mentioned before, I don't really make friends with people I work with. Mm-hmm. But one of the people who worked at this company, we found out that we lived 5 minutes away from each other. So she suggested to carpool. And I was like, I don't really want to. But I've been working on myself during quarantine. I'm like, who knows, right? Let me just extend myself and be like, okay, yeah, we'll carpool. So we carpooled that week. And I only went in twice that week. So, or I only go in twice a week. So she has an electric, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's an electric vehicle.
An electric car.
But I don't want to blame the electric vehicle for what happened.
Yes. So anyway, we had decided that we were both going to leave at 3.
Mm-hmm. 2 to 3. So
2 to 3. And then she switched it up and was like, oh, can we leave at 4:30, 5 o'clock? And I was like, I guess I don't have a choice in the matter.
You did. So the plan originally was...
Yeah, but then I hadn't even, packed everything.
The plan that originally was there was that I was going to take Jackie to work in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then I would pick her up that afternoon and we'd just drive up straight from work. But then, it's she had another plan where she was going to get off work early and it would have been a big deal. Because the thing about it is, to go where we were going,
yes,
to go to Daytona, we have to pass
the office
where she was working.
At. Yeah.
So for her to drive home and then for us to drive back,
yes,
in that same direction, to me, it didn't make sense. But if she came home early enough, I figured, it could have worked out.
It could have,
but it didn't.
Yeah,
and
that
then
was my fault.
You called me.
Yeah.
Jackie calls me. And
I didn't know we were gonna go into this
episode, baby.
Okay.
So Jackie calls me, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't think we should go anymore. and giving me all these reasons why we shouldn't leave.
No. Okay, yeah. I didn't say I don't think we should go anymore. I said, why don't we just go in the morning? I'll wake up at 5. I'll do the whole drive. I don't care. Because I was kind of over it, I must say. Like, I think I was just, like, annoyed.
Yeah.
By the situation that I was in, so.
My whole thing was, and I was just mad that you called me because I knew she was in the car with somebody. So
no, she was outside the car.
I just didn't feel like I could have the conversation I needed to have.
I feel you.
In the moment. So I just had to, like, suppress it. And I think all I text back was like, or all I said was like, okay, we'll talk about this later. And I had so much
to say.
But we ended up going.
Yes. We just left at night.
Really late.
Not really late.
It was kind of late. We didn't get there until like midnight.
Yes.
So that was pretty late comparison to what time we wanted to leave.
But we left at like 7?
Yeah, a little 7 because we stopped to grab something to eat. Yeah. I
mean, it ended up being really nice. You picked a really nice hotel in Daytona.
I really did.
Yes.
I really did.
And we spent some time in Daytona. We got to like drive around.
Not really. Oh, the morning after. Yeah. Yeah. Or that morning.
Yeah, that morning.
Drove by Bethune.
Mm-hmm. Which they was like.
School. No, I don't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that it was like COVID or anything.
I mean, I don't know what it looks like on a regular day. Maybe so. But
it looked like they was having a good time outside.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
And then we drove up to Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
And
we rode through little neighborhoods on the way there, which were so sketchy.
Like,
we were like, yeah, we're not stopping here.
Jackie's definitely more bougie than me, but
what?
When it comes to like stuff like that, like,
y'all don't know this man.
Like lodging and where
he's bougie.
I can't lie. Like, we were driving through some of those neighborhoods and whew,
you're bougie. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was another way of living that I'm not used to. Like, I've been through like the city. Like I've driven places and I don't feel the same way.
Okay.
It just felt destitute. Like, it felt like real poverty. And I was like, I don't know. It was dirty poverty. Like, there's a difference between like being poor and then everything just looked.
The thing is,
people dirty.
I don't even think you gotta stop. I don't even think it was like dirty poverty. I think most of America looks like what we saw. 100%.
So
it's like, businesses next door to like homes next door to, and it's like this is the main road. That's what America looks like.
It was a lady sitting on her like porch at 9-10 o'clock in the morning, smoking a cigarette next to her like 2-year-old baby. And then I promise I seen her pass the cig to the kid.
No, you didn't.
I'm telling you. Just like he had a hard day at daycare and he smoked a cigarette with his mom. It was just such a dirty place.
I feel like that's honestly most of what America looks like.
I hope not.
We're just used to like going to the city parts whenever we go places.
That
was interesting.
That was bad.
Yeah, but it was a good trip. We went with 2 other couples. I had a good time, I think.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was like an easy going vacation because obviously COVID. So.
Yeah, Savannah's like a real like historical city.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of like sightseeing as far as like walking around. Real walkable city. Like,
oh yeah.
Depending on where you stay, you could walk pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, we walked everywhere. Except for when it was raining.
Yeah, that was the only thing. If it wasn't for the rain, like, yeah, we foot the whole trip.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad. Like, it was a real... If the weather was good and it didn't rain, like, as far as, like, if it was cool and the weather didn't rain, like, that's a real easy city to navigate through on foot.
And it's small.
Yeah.
Like, we probably walked the whole city.
No, that's not true.
Or we probably saw the whole city.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was all right. I don't think Savannah's a city I have to go back to. But...
Really?
Positive.
I would go back for sure when things are like live again.
I guess like for me the big things are like, okay, what have I not done in Savannah? I feel like I've done everything already.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for me to go back, and there's nothing that I was like, oh man, I would really like to do that again.
It was just a chill place.
Yeah, and I chilled and I left. And I'm ready to go see a new city now.
Gotcha. What else?
You opened up a Robinhood account.
I did.
So
we talked about money in the last episode. So this is just kind of like a play money, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know. You've been on Robinhood longer than I have.
I've been on for a couple months now.
Yeah.
I don't think like I'm a super trader or whatnot, but yeah, I've been getting my feet wet. I definitely think it's another way to make your money grow, man. Like,
yeah.
Even if as a novice, like someone who kind of just knows the basics, I know math, and I know if I put in X amount of dollars and the stock goes up X amount, like that's money to be made.
Right.
You just gotta kind of, have a little bit of like foresight or like vision as far as like what do you think the market will do, but it's definitely for not the faint of heart, because that money fluctuates just like any investment where it's like dealing with the market, your 401k. Sometimes it's best to just set it and forget it. Don't keep monitoring it because it'll drive you crazy. Right. So yeah, man.
Yeah, but I've been playing around with that. So if you guys are on Robinhood and want to give me some tips, feel free. Yeah. What else? I feel like that
was pretty much it. Any comments on the last episode or recent episodes?
Well, Cheryl did say that this is a friend of mine. She said that you were really, really petty about the Dr. Dre situation.
I was petty?
Yes. Saying that like she never made a beat in her life. So
y'all know a beat that Nicole Young? Because I'll dance to it. If he tell me which beat she did. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So yeah, you're definitely petty. And there are definitely conversations we've had during the week that you're like, that's how you would act? But I'm like, I'm not insert name here. I'm just Jackie. Hey, I'm just saying in that situation, get your $2 million. I don't see the problem.
I'm not completely against people getting their money. I think that was just a fact, though. She never made a beat. At least one that I heard.
If her name is on it, she made it.
But that was my point.
Yeah.
Give her everything she's owed. But if she's like starting to reach, that's where it's like, it's a little tricky. So,
but
hey, man, get your money, queen.
That's it.
Whatever your name is on. Anything else? Leave that man alone.
You guys can subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts. Send us comments on SoundCloud or on the gram at Michelle Matters or Twitter
at Coach_JOX.
And if you want to support the podcast, you guys can check the links below. We always have them under the description and on our website. So yeah.
And don't forget.
I was going to say that new Mariah Carey book is out. So if you want your free Audible, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And the autobiography of Malcolm X is on Audible now, narrated by Lawrence Fishburne. So you definitely check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube.
Yeah. I wonder why they picked him.
Why did they pick him?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just one of those voices.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's move on to the current matter.
All right.
All right, guys. So for this current matter, we are talking about, what should I call her? One of Rachel Dolezal's cousins?
This is about another case of someone, white woman, actually, who was impersonating being a black woman.
Impersonating being a lot of things.
Yeah, that was the big thing about her. She was a professor at George Washington University.
Yeah.
Her name is Jessica Krug.
Yes. So she is a white Jewish woman. Mm-hmm. And she grew up in Kansas. And basically, right? I'm tripping?
She's from Kansas City.
Oh, just kidding. Kansas City, Missouri.
There you go.
I always get those mixed up. Grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. And basically, I don't know. She just decided to be black under different types of blackness. And she says she assumed identities as like a North African black, and a Black American, and then a Caribbean rooted Bronx black girl. So I don't know how she got away with this, and I don't know what her intentions were. Like, why do this? Same questions I have for Rachel, I have for her. Like, why? But she got found out because somebody, I guess, saw her giving a lecture or something like that, or a class, and they found her on Facebook. And in her mind, she was just like, something ain't, that intuition, something wasn't right, and just caught her. And then she ended up outing herself, really, in this article that she wrote for medium.com.
This was difficult for me. Not because of just the whole thing, but my thing is like how long this went on.
Her whole life.
Nah, not her whole life. It couldn't be her whole life. She definitely started this in her like professional career, maybe early college.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because she was teaching like African American studies or something like that.
My thing is, okay, if you don't know this story, or even if you do, Google Jessica Krug and look at her.
Krug.
And look at her and tell me how long she could have got away with this.
She could have probably gotten away with the Bronx. If she just stuck with that, maybe. But you...
Nah, the thing is, so the Rachel Dolezal, to me, was a way closer reach.
Because she would get tans and stuff.
Yeah. This lady doesn't look black at all. Like, Google it. Like, you don't have to take my word for it. Google what this lady looks like.
But what does looking black look like?
And see, that's a really good question.
Isn't it?
No, it is. And that's why this is why you can't really have it the other way around. You can't have too many black people pretending to be white.
Right.
But you can have white people pretending to be black because of the history of black people in this country, right?
Correct.
Like, we can look like anything because of our history and the interminglings that went on. So that's why you have such a wide range of what black people look like.
So she ends up saying in this article, basically saying like, I'm a coward. She repeats that. And then she says, I am not a culture vulture. I'm a culture leech. And
go ahead.
I didn't know what to think about that.
I kind of understand what she's saying, but I have an issue with what she said.
Is that she's trying to find herself in a culture? Is that what she's trying to say?
I guess as a culture leech. So a leech is what? A parasite that lives off of something. Like on its own, it can't maintain, so it has to live off other things.
Correct.
I have a problem with that because in the little bits that I've seen of her, she seems to be a really smart woman. Like, that was one of the things, like, everyone says her work is exceptional. So, for me, a leech can only survive off, so she's saying she's a leech of black culture, that's how she survives. But my thing is, she's so smart. She didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
She didn't have to be a leech. And it was like, and it's something, I guess, why couldn't she do the same work as a white woman?
Would people have taken her course and things like that? Would she be where she was today if she was a white woman doing this?
Black people are very
accepting,
open. No, I'm not going to say just accepting, but very open to white allies.
Okay.
Real white allies, which she appears to be. I don't think, like, there's a whole culture around inviting people to the picnic. You know what I mean? Huh?
Cookout.
Whatever, the cookout. I'm saying, but that's something within the culture already.
Yeah.
Where there's a space to be accepting of white people who apparently are allies and do this type of work. I don't think it would have invalidated her studies, her research, because she's black. Like, I don't think it changes anything about what she's done, or even just like some of the researchers.
You mean her race?
Yeah, like,
right.
I think there's power in being a white person who's interested in these topics.
Yeah, just like that. Who's that older white lady who would just be calling everything out?
Oh man, yeah. Jane, so I can't remember
something
her last name.
like she has classes and stuff.
Exactly.
Like, you need to apologize.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes that just feels forced, though. Like, it looks like, okay, you can stop now. Like, you don't have to do all of that. Like, for you to be an ally.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I watch Jane and I'm like, okay, you're doing a lot right now.
Maybe.
So I think that's probably what she was like, I don't want to be that person.
But it doesn't invalidate her work at all.
No, for sure.
So that's why she does the work as a white woman.
Yeah,
right?
And that's why you still get invited to the Red Table Talks and things like that.
That's why I'm like, the leech part I didn't agree with, because I just feel like she chose this. Leeches don't have a choice. Leeches feel like they have no other choice but to latch on to whatever they need to.
Yeah.
I think she's more of like, whatever. She's just cultural, I don't know, chameleon or something. Like, she just found a area and then she fit in.
Well, she also said that there was nothing in her life that connected her to white people or a white community. Like, besides obviously being white, but I guess, I don't know what part of the city she grew up in. I don't know if like all her friends were also black or whatever. Yeah. I just thought this was like a one-off thing.
The
yes. So how many more?
Look, and this is something that
because I don't know how you could be not yourself for like a chunk of your life.
She says that she has mental health issues, I guess. And that was one of the things that people would bring up with Rachel Dolezal. And I feel like if that's the case, everybody has a little bit of mental health issues. Because we could just chalk it up to that. Oh,
there's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Some people, it could be like, oh, well, I'm just depressed today. And then some people could be like, I'm a black woman, but I'm a white Jew.
I don't think the mental health issue is that she's confused about her race.
No.
She definitely knows that she's a white woman. I think the mental health part is, why did she think it, or the reason she maybe had for thinking it was okay to impersonate being a black woman. Because it wasn't an identity thing. She knew exactly what she was. She just didn't want to be that anymore, or she didn't feel like she could be that maybe and do the work that she does.
She feels like this is who she is.
No, it can't be.
What?
She feels like she's a black woman on the inside.
So
I don't think she would call herself a coward.
No. I just, like she said, she doesn't really feel connected to whiteness. So I guess that's why you can say, okay, I'm going to try to be African, or I'm going to try to be Black American. I'm going to try to be Caribbean from the Bronx. Like, you're just trying to figure out where you can really relate to, because this is what you've studied. This is what you connect to now, And I can understand that once you start diving into a subject and that's like your whole, like your career is now your life, where it's like, oh, I actually relate more to this than like my Jewish ancestors or whatever. And that could be confusing. Like, I can get that.
I don't think it's confusing.
To her.
Yeah, it's always a reach when you talk about stuff like that, because, I mean, people do it all the time when you really think about it. Like, black people will say, oh, I got Indian in my family, or people who may not know any of their roots per se, and they'll claim things like,
but your roots.
I got my great grandpa was Jamaican, and whenever Carnival comes around, it's people that you thought were just regular Black Americans, and they're going out there with their flags, and it's like, is that really your? And it's just, people do things to fit in. People appreciate sometimes other cultures, and they like things about other cultures, and they try to incorporate in their own lives. Like, I get that. But to full on, like, build your career off of a lie that you didn't have to tell. Because that's the thing, right? Why would someone want to give up their whiteness? If you really think, because, like, that's a commodity in the United States. Being white, granted, I know there's debate over white privilege now, but there's value to whiteness in America. And I think there's even more value in being a white person who is an ally of Black people. Like, you have a cultural clout that you can always cash in from that perspective. And it's like, why give that up? And maybe that's the mental health part that I don't understand. Why someone want to give up their whiteness for the struggle of being Black.
But I think once it's almost like, right, okay, you have money in the bank, so you don't really care for your job. So you just kind of like, whatever, like, I'm here. You know what I mean?
I guess.
It's like, for her, it's not really a struggle of Blackness, because at the end of the day, I'm white. Yeah,
she could always fall back on her whiteness. Right. But I haven't read her work.
I can
her work
experience,
is predicated on her being Black now.
I can experience both the positives from both cultures as I navigate through whatever space I want to.
I just felt like it was hard. It's hard to go back from that. Like, you can't.
She doesn't have her job anymore. I don't know what she's going to do now.
Oh, that's tough, because I could have sworn she was a tenured professor. But I know that was like the big thing. Like, did they take away her tenure?
They said she's not a professor at that university anymore.
Well, I would say I feel bad for her, but I don't.
But again, why does she have to lose her job over that? Because if she's
a lie.
So her race does play a part in her job?
Her credibility plays a part in... I think it's more so just the morality of it. Like, you've been lying this whole time. And yes, you can get fired for lying at your job. So I think that's more of the issue, is that how much she lied in her work. Because I'm assuming she used, or she maybe wrote in her work that she was a Black woman, or maybe her experiences, I'm assuming, that may have just all been lies to make points that she could make from the perspective of a white person still. Like, you can still talk about Black issues from a white perspective.
Correct.
There's a lane for it. Like, it's what Sean King does. I know people are going to get it. Was a joke. But
not really.
Yeah. So, there's space for it. Like, she could have done still great work without lying.
See, even that is forced. Even
What's
Sean
forced?
King is like...
I didn't want to talk about Sean King.
Okay, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Go ahead. I mean, I don't know what she's gonna do now. It's like one of those, like, okay, Rachel Dolezal, what do you... Okay.
Rachel Dolezal braiding hair.
Yeah, she braided hair. She got her clients. But what are you gonna do? Like, teach Black history on the side of I-95? Like...
That's the thing. It's the credibility for me. Like, you threw that out the window when you felt like you had to lie to kind of get your points across, which I don't think is necessary. I don't think most Black people think is necessary. No. So yeah, that's the price you're gonna have to pay for lying.
Just be honest, y'all.
Yeah. All right. So I think that wraps that up.
Yeah.
All right. On to the Michel matter. All right. So for today's Michel matter, we wanted to talk about, kind of based off the current matter, just people impersonating and being something they're not for others. But this example is going to be based on social media.
Yeah.
On Instagram, straight flexing. What are your thoughts, I guess, early thoughts on the idea?
This kind of came about because you know, I feel like we all deal with people on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And I come across random people who want things altered or whatever. And so I was working with someone who, you know, I altered her stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. This is nice. And this is just a regular person. Like, I would have probably met them at a coffee shop or something. When I go to their Instagram, I'm like, okay, because I always try to check people out before I actually meet them. Just to make sure they're not, you know, crazy. And what?
Oh, good.
And yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so this is like some influencer person. I don't know, like always traveling, you know, apartment looks in tip-top shape, whatever. Cool. But I treat everybody the same, or at least I try. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, they got here, did the thing, whatever. So then once I finally drop off the alteration, I'm like meeting them at, you know, their mom's house, and his kids running around, and like, y'all home. It's just a different presentation, mm-hmm. right? You know, just not living the life that they portrayed, I guess. And I was just like, this is interesting. You know, they still pay me, so it is what it is. But I was just like, why is it that people feel the need to portray this life online? And then, I mean, obviously in person, they're not really keeping it up all the way. So, like, what is that? And so we just decided to talk about it.
Yeah. For me, when I think about, because typically I see this most on like Instagram.
Yeah. That's where the pictures are.
And it's just so easy to do. And that's why I don't care for Instagram personally, because I know how doctored it is. Like, mm-hmm. What is a picture? A picture is just a snapshot of a time and place. It never gives you, like, there's no backstory. There's no context. It's literally just pictures. And I know, because even myself, like, if I've taken a picture and I choose a certain, like, everyone, you know, you take multiple pictures of probably the same pose, the same thing. You pick the one that best portrays the message that you're trying to send. Not necessarily the reality of the situation, just the message you're trying to send. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, that's what Instagram is. It's just people seeing what you want them to see versus like what's really going on. And I don't know, I have mixed feelings, but I don't see the real issue in it, but there is an issue with it. But yeah, it's hard for me to explain.
I mean, I don't think people need to know what's going on, right?
Okay.
Right? So I don't think people need to know what's truly going on. But I feel like if you need to doctor up some image to portray something that is totally left from what is reality, that's when I'm like, well, what are we doing here? Like, what's the point of living the double life?
Okay.
Because if even if at this moment life is trash, right? Just don't post nothing.
All right.
Post when life is good. Then
that is,
if that's your ammo, like
that
that's your
like
motivation.
A tricky situation. So okay, you run a business. You run a business page. Mm-hmm. You don't just post whatever picture you take.
Well, I'm also like trash at posting. I am.
Okay, but if someone were to go to your post,
like I'll post like every 2 weeks.
They don't know that. Okay, sometimes the office is messy because you don't take pictures of the messy office.
Correct.
They don't know that maybe a stitch or something may be off because you don't take pictures of garments that have messed up stitching or. So what's the line between like
I don't do
branding
stitching.
Okay,
but okay.
What's the difference between like branding
a business,
curating, entertaining, and like being fake? Is there a difference?
I think there is.
Carry on.
I think there is because for a business or for anything, I would say most people like to see the behind the scenes. What?
You believe that?
I do. I like to see it.
I have a... It's just me, personally. I don't think people really want to know what's going on in your life. I don't think so. I think people just want to be entertained.
That's interesting.
I don't think people... I don't think people really care. And if they do, it's like very fleeting.
I agree with that. But then some people will say, no, people do care. And I'm just like, no.
Okay. Me personally.
Yes. You don't care.
Yeah, I definitely don't. But
there are people who do.
Okay. Have you ever seen somebody post a picture of themselves crying?
Yes, actually.
Okay. Don't you feel like that's weird?
It is.
Do you want to see that?
No.
That's their real life. We don't really want to see people's real life. We don't want the whole picture. We don't. Because if you did...
I mean, there are people that I watch on YouTube who will post like, I got a divorce or whatever. Like, they'll post anything. And I'm just like,
that?
I appreciate them being honest at all times. If that's what you're going to do, you're going to post your whole life. Hey, I'm not mad at it. Don't only post, I'm in Cancun. If that's your thing, if that's your shtick, then okay, post a crying picture. I don't feel comfortable liking it because that's weird. Like liking you crying. I might comment like, prayers up or something like that. But or in my mind, I might like, okay, let me pray for this person. But like, just because I wouldn't do it, I don't know how everybody else deals with life, right? So I wouldn't post a crying picture. I barely post pictures. So, but if I am going to post one, I wouldn't post one crying. But just because I wouldn't do it, that doesn't mean everyone else
shouldn't.
Can't. Yeah.
Every time I see somebody crying or
I also
doing
think that's weird branding.
Too much on, but maybe the brand is their whole life, right? And you're supposed to see their whole life. Every time I see somebody do something like that, I'm always, the first thing in my mind is like, put the phone down. Like literally stop
Call
looking
911
into your phone.
Yeah.
And telling us the innermost parts of your heart.
Right. And
what's going on in your life. Like, some things don't need to be publicized. Because I feel like... the people who do it typically monetize their pain. Or they monetize what's going on in their life.
True.
Right? And there are people who feel the need, or maybe they feel like they have the capacity to monetize their life. So they copy some of these people. And my thing is, look, we don't care. Most people do not care. And if you understand that, maybe you'll stop flexing so much on the gram. When you kind of realize that people don't care. You don't care.
That's my thing. You're making a generalization right now. Like,
when I say people don't care,
that's why people are on Instagram all the time. Because they care.
I think they're on Instagram because they like to be entertained. And pictures are entertaining. Pictures are sometimes inspiring.
What's entertaining, though, about somebody else's picture? Maybe because I can't get into it, but...
Because I don't think about just Instagram. I'm thinking about YouTube when people vlog.
That's
I'm thinking
cool.
about...
But that's in real time.
First of all, that is not real time because it's not live.
Right.
Anything that's edited is not real time.
But you get, like, tips, too. Like, that's how I knew, like, oh, that was at Trader Joe's. Let me, pick that up or whatever by watching vlogs.
I'm not against it.
No, I get you. But I just feel like at least for me, scrolling through Instagram is not entertaining. It's actually, like, unorganized and I feel... like jumbled and weirdness, right? But watching YouTube, if I'm like, okay, this is a video of what you ate today and it's 10 minutes long and I know what I'm getting, that's more entertaining to me than like, oh, someone is crying today or someone's baby took a step and next picture someone's in Mexico, another like, is like too much for me.
I'm not saying that. So I'm not talking about your Instagram feed. I'm talking about an individual person's feed, right? If you go on someone's individual feed and you see typically
their timeline,
what's been going on in their life,
right?
And especially if they have like an organized page too, where it's like, okay, there's an aesthetic there, like there's a theme there, there's colors like that match and all this stuff. Like that's, to some people there is, and that's why I didn't want to just say entertainment. Like when I wrote it down, I said it's branding, it's curating, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And it culminates like all of those things. And I think
that's creative.
Yeah. I think people like that. Okay. But I also feel like as a consumer, I don't put as much stock in it as maybe some people think. And some people do. There are a lot of people who do put a lot of stock in it.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that part later. But I was just saying, for myself, I don't see an issue with it because of what it is. Instagram is that. Instagram is made for you to curate a image. Like, you're developing what people see. Like, anything that's edited should be done right, to me. Like, I don't want to see a messy picture. I don't want to, like, you had time. If you had time to post it, you had time to edit it. Like, do it right. So there's a level of branding that's necessary, or just like cleanliness, all of that stuff. Like, I don't think it's fake per se.
Okay.
I think that is what a picture should look like. Like, I don't want to see, like, if you've ever been on a bad business Instagram page, it turns you off.
Yeah.
I don't think I want that realness.
Yes.
I want to see professionalism.
Okay.
I want to see.
But is that more on like the grid? Like, would you be more accepting of realness on a live or a story? Like, or is that all together? I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see bad anything. Like, even in your personal life, like, I don't want to see your messy room. There are people who appreciate that, and maybe if that's your brand, fine, but I don't want to see that. The thing about Instagram is, like, everyone has turned into a brand, whether you like it or not. If you're on Instagram, you in some ways or form consider yourself a brand. Yeah. And whatever you put fits into that brand. Right. If I go on your page and it looks like discombobulated, then I was just like, okay, that's just you. Like, you're just a discombobulated person. And okay, so let's stop right there. Okay. So why is it that based off of somebody's page is where we get this is who this person is? Is that the point of Instagram? And then once you meet that person outside of Instagram and it doesn't fit what you thought they were, is that fraudulent? Or is that just, I was being creative on my page and it's just Instagram? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because based on your page, if it's clean, if it's this, if the colors are coordinated and your outfit match your filter, I don't know. It's like, oh, okay, great. Like, when I meet this person, I don't know, they're going to be coordinated. Mm-hmm. And if they show up in a muumuu or whatever, is that fraud? Do I have to match my Instagram every day, every second of every day? Okay. Me personally, my opinion on the matter. Mm-hmm. Knowing that you have an Instagram. Yeah. The fraud, I don't think it's fraudulent. I think you may need some help. What? But I don't think it's fraudulent. Help with what? I think because there's a difference between making something look good and creating a facade. So, like, if I were to take a angled picture, okay, so you remember there was that challenge, the Hobby Lobby challenge?
Yeah.
So the Hobby Lobby challenge was taking, like, normal things at Hobby Lobby and making it look like high fashion, right?
Yeah. But you kind of know going in what you're getting into because it's called the Hobby Lobby challenge.
I'm getting somewhere.
Okay,
I'm getting somewhere. I think too many people have made that their feed. They make, like... They maybe turn, like, sitting by the pool to almost like they're at a hotel, like, almost like it's a lie.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you're not really where you think you are, but because of the computer and what you can do with, like, cropping and this and that, you can make something look like something it's not. That, to me, is like, I think you may need help if you feel like you have to do that. But if you're at a 5-star hotel and you take a picture, because you're really at a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Wrong. Yeah.
Have at it. The problem for me, because that's the thing, a lot of people are like, oh, I met her and she don't really live that life, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, why did you think she lived that life?
Are you asking me, like the first person I mentioned?
Yeah. Like, why do you think they lived that life?
Because that's what they portrayed on their page. So when I see you and it's like, oh, you don't have your own place. You actually live at your mama's house and everybody live at your mama's house. And, you know, you didn't even present yourself in the same way on the day like that we first met. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, it kind of, for me, it was like, I already know people are normal.
Yeah.
There are days when it's like, today's a pajama day. Here you are. And then there are days where it's like, I feel like putting makeup on today. So I get that. But like, if on your whole feed, I never seen you without makeup. Your whole feed, I only see you on a boat. Like, that's just what it looks like. That's the type of life you're living.
It's double-edged for me. I think the person who feels like they have to post just that, there's an issue with feeling like you have to post just that. And that's something, whatever you have to work through. As the viewer, the consumer, I think it's really, really important to remember Instagram is not real life.
Yeah.
And when you kind of accept that Instagram is not real life, you have to look at these people different. There's no way someone's life is that perfect. And if it is, congrats, right? You will run yourself into a real like situation if you start thinking that people's snapshots in time that are edited, doctored, cropped, like waist cinched, all of those things. If you think that that's real life, then you're gonna develop issues, I think, because bro, you can't live up to that. There's no way that, like I said, there's no context. You don't know what happened before this picture. Right. You don't know what happened after this picture. You don't know what's outside the frame of this picture. They probably have all the clothes on their bed. Their bed might be on the floor. Like, their mattress might be on the floor. You don't know. Like you said, this could be at their mama house.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, we all know somebody on Instagram.
Straight flex.
Posing as somebody else. But like, when it's somebody you don't know, I don't know, I guess it catches you by surprise.
Maybe.
At least me, it caught me by surprise. I was just like, oh. I wasn't sure if I was at the right place. Like, I just, I didn't know.
But isn't that the beauty of Instagram, right? Someone can turn a situation like a Hobby Lobby into like a high fashion studio.
It's great.
And, hey, creativity. More power to you. I think it's on the consumer. I don't know how I feel about it, though. I think it's on the consumer to, like, as the viewer, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. Yeah. Photoshop exists.
Yeah. It's kind of like, well, you probably didn't watch that episode, but I used to make him watch, like, The Hills and stuff back in the day.
Okay.
And then on the last episode, they, like, revealed the whole set behind the hills. And it was like, what? This show was fake this whole time? Like, that was like a whole thing. And I think that's kind of like when reality TV kind of stopped on MTV. But it really opened a lot of people's eyes. Like, oh, so y'all probably shot this like 5 times. Now we know. We just know, but we still watch, Housewives or whatever the case. We just know, like, y'all staged these people there and they don't get along and they might throw a drink. And that's what it is. At this point, we just know entertainment is fake and we're okay with it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like when you find out, WWE was fake. It's like, oh, I thought that was real.
Instagram is
but
fake.
You still watch it even though it's fake.
Yeah, Instagram is fake. And I think it's because of that. Like, there are certain people, I know how you really live.
Yeah.
And my issue is not with your feed. I appreciate a good looking feed. I question your mental state.
But the thing is, most of the time, and sorry to cut you off, but most of the time, the same people that we know this is not your life, we will have conversations with them and they will literally struggle because that is not their life. And it's like, well, you can't do that because you have this missing piece. So, of course, this doesn't align with what you're posting. Like, you're almost posting your future life
before it's happened.
Yeah, and you're messing up your current situation. Yeah. And that's really what you're stressed about, like, all the time. And calling me about.
This is faking it till you make it gone wrong. And I don't know. This is... It's an interesting place. The internet is always an interesting place. I prefer to live in real life. That's why, like, I can go a year without posting.
What do you think your feed says about your brand? I feel like I say it all the time.
Yeah, that I don't necessarily, like, focus on myself. My feed is mostly, like, me and you. So Jackie says that's my brand.
The husband brand.
And I'm okay with that. Because that's my life, right? Yeah. Like, that's my real life.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the pressure to portray something else. Mm-hmm. When I go on trips, I don't feel the need to post everything. Just because...
We typically don't.
Yeah, but sometimes, like, if something's really nice, I'll take a picture of it. One, for, like, memory's sake for myself. And sometimes I do want people to see, like, look at this view. Mm-hmm. Or, I was at such and such place. Like, there are some moments that I don't mind sharing with other people, but I do not feel pressured to share my moments with people. And it could be just because of my attitude about, like, other people. I'm going to tell you right now, most of y'all stories, I watch on mute, or I just, like, flick through. Like, I don't really care about what y'all are doing like that.
So what's the point of flicking through then?
It's entertainment. I literally take it in as entertainment.
Okay.
I don't take...
It's almost like people are directors of their own thing.
Yeah,
their own mini show for Instagram stories.
Yes, and I like some of your shows.
Okay.
And especially if, like, your page just looks, like, super clean, I tend to feel like, okay, what's the catch? Or... I just know that that's just not how life works. I know people's lives don't look like that.
Correct.
So I can't take stock in it. I appreciate it. I appreciate the effort that you took to make it look like that. But I don't feel a way, like, maybe that I'm less than, or that there's a standard that I'm not living up to because my photos don't come out like yours, because I know what a photo is.
Correct.
I don't. It doesn't pressure me in that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's just a big lie? All of social media is a lie? Or let's compare another outlet like Twitter. Is that because you're on Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like a lot of people lie on Twitter the same that they do on Instagram, or the same amount?
It's a different type of lie. Mm-hmm. There's, like, a big thing on Twitter. There's a lot of cap on this app. Like, it's a lot of That's a social media thing in general, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cap on all these apps. But I think Twitter, the lying comes more from like, now more so. It's a lot more like social activism caping and people, where people are either like extreme feminists or extreme like chauvinists or like just different things where people will, okay, I know you're exaggerating.
Yeah. Or this you. That's like my favorite.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like, where people get exposed. No,
but it's like real stuff.
Yeah, where people are getting exposed where it's like, okay, you clearly don't live your raps. Like you're not the person that you tweet you are. Yeah. All the time. And that I appreciate because there are receipts for a lot of the things that people say, but I guess it's fact checkable for the most part. Yeah. Where people stand sometimes on things if you tweet enough, like eventually people will catch you in your lies or your.
I guess you're right. I guess it is all entertainment because I'm thinking of, the YouTuber that I was telling you is going to be on TV. Okay. And it was like, but why? Like, all these receipts are coming out now that, like, y'all were about to get a divorce. And then y'all stopped it. Now you're getting a divorce. Like, it just, the timing is kind of, and I guess people will go to great lengths in real life for the sake of entertainment. Yeah. And a check, really.
My cousin, and I'll just say this because I know he probably doesn't care. He tweets the most reckless statements on earth. He is by far probably, I'll say he's the top 5 tweeters for me on Instagram, on Twitter, timeline. On my timeline. Because he says stuff and I'm just like, bro. But my thing is, I know he's not like that. I know he does it for...
How do you know?
No one can live out the stuff that he tweets. No one. Like, no one is that, like, chauvinistic. I can't imagine he's that chauvinistic. Like, it's bad. But it's funny. It's funny, though. And I view it as, like, people will get on the app and say certain things just
say anything. For clout.
For clout, yeah. For retweets, for likes, for laughs. People will say anything. Like, I even call myself, like, I'm not that mean. Or I'm not that, like I've had to, like, tone back some of my takes or whatever. Because, you can get caught up, like, behind a keyboard and start saying whatever because you'll never see these people.
But if that's really you.
Yeah, no. I'm a lot of me on Twitter.
Like, you don't know if that's not really your cousin. Because some things might check out.
No. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna shoot him a little bit of bail. I don't think he's as bad as he tweets. He can't be. But if he is, wow. But I don't think he is. I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna stick to that. I don't think he's
black men protecting black men. I like to see it. Sometimes
you can check my Twitter. I protect black people in general, but it's not relegated to men. But yeah, I think that I don't think any app necessarily is better than the other when it comes to some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
besides Facebook.
No, Facebook is terrible.
Nah, people beat themselves on Facebook for the most part. And it's bad.
The thing about Facebook that's interesting was that for a long time, Facebook was attached to your real name. And you can only do so much under your real name. Like, people feel a little safer hiding behind pseudonyms and, like, nicknames and fake profile pictures. You couldn't do that for a long time on Facebook. Right. Because it was attached to your college email and you had to put, like, your name. There weren't businesses on there yet. You couldn't put, like, it was literally people signed up under their names.
Yeah, like sweetheart.
Yeah, you wasn't getting that back in the day on Facebook. So there was a lot of, like, this is my name, my face. I'm not going to cut up. But, like, on Twitter or Instagram, you can have fake profiles. You can have, like, these weird accounts, these people with dog avies, and they'll just say reckless stuff because it's not my name or face. You can't track this to somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, social media is a lie. And how do you avoid lying on social media?
Me?
Yeah.
I just don't use my personal account anymore. Okay. That's one. I mean, even then, I was really just posting like podcast stuff, or if I was hanging out with my friend or something.
But even on your personal page?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you did.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Let me just make an Instagram for the podcast. And then I just decided I don't feel like dealing with 3 Instagrams. So you dropped your personal. I dropped my personal. I mean, it's still there. I guess it's curated.
It is.
Like, I didn't post any, like, messed up photos of myself. So, yeah. But I think the only thing that I guess lied is that I didn't post everything in real time.
Okay.
But that's also because, like, the internet. Like, I don't trust a lot of things. Like, I don't trust the cloud. I don't
consider that lying, though. I
just post it, like, a week later or when I get back to the airport or something like that.
Yeah. I don't consider that lying. That's why you have things like Throwback Thursdays. And
right.
It doesn't have to be in real time. So that's not lying. Yeah.
But still, like, I'm not at that place when you see it.
Yeah. Like, to me, lying is, like, only posting photos from, like, the shoulder up or only taking pictures of...
Why is that lying?
Like, I don't want to say lying. It's not giving complete context or, like, catfishing people or, like, only taking pictures of certain parts of your house or... Yeah, that's what I mean by lying. Or, like, posting, you know, like, you're living your best life when you're struggling.
Right.
Because that's what a lot of social media is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then I guess the business, I don't know. I guess it's curated too, but like...
The thing about it should be, though.
Right, but it's usually for images of like photo shoots or quotes or outfits. It's not really like of me. It's of the stuff.
Your Instagram should be curated to a degree, in my opinion. I don't think people should take pride in having, like, messy photos.
But again, it's just Instagram, right? So a lot of people just post pictures. Like, people who don't take it seriously is just like, oh, well, here's the park I'm at today. And no caption, like nothing.
Yeah.
Just here's the photo. And then there's others where it's like, I need to document everything in real time, all the time.
Yeah.
Stories are always on full. Like, I don't know.
If you're a regular person who curates your Instagram to that degree, those things usually tell me something about you or...
But why?
Why?
What's the difference between the person who will post just a regular photo and the person who ensures that their feed is, you know, crisp? I still have a life outside of this.
Yeah.
It's still snippets.
My thing is just like, you know, there's no awards for this. Like...
But that could be my life.
What is your life?
I could be getting paid through Instagram.
Okay, there's a difference. That's the difference. That's why I said a regular person. Regular people don't get paid to post on Instagram.
Let's stick to regular people.
Yeah, regular people don't get paid to post on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, they don't give you no extra credit. Ain't no grades out here. So it's like, you're working hard for something. I question what you're working hard for. Why do you feel like you have to keep this up? Why do you feel like you have to keep everyone so involved in your life? And it's like, those are questions I think people need to ask themselves sometimes. Like, the people that are consumed by Instagram, the people that are consumed by social media is like, why? Why do those things matter so much to you when you and I know they're not real life? And it's like, why do I feel like I have to lie to people? And sometimes that really leads you to a place where you question yourself, who you are, why you do what you do.
If they're lying, of course.
If you're lying.
Yeah. What?
Most of it is lies.
Yeah, the majority. Yeah.
I mean, just be honest with yourself.
Correct.
That's it. Just be honest with yourself. And stay out of some of these problems.
Yeah.
So.
Let's move on.
All right.
All right. For this week's Listener Matter, we have one question.
Okay.
And as you guys know, you can email us at michelmatters@gmail.com. So this person says, what would you guys say waiting to have sex until marriage has taught you the most? I'm a virgin and still weighing my options on why it's the best choice. Okay, so I'll go. I would say, well, first, I don't think it was like a matter of weighing my options.
Okay.
So if you look at it like that, again, like we saved. So if you look at it like that, I think you missed the whole point, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's just some inner work that, I don't know, you would have to deep dive into. But I would say what I've learned and continuously learning is self-control. And that's not just even physically. It could just be like, I want to go off on somebody.
Yeah.
Let me get myself together. Or just anything. Like, just anything. It's self-control. And that's like something that I'm just continuously learning. But I think with that experience under my belt, it's a little more like, okay, I can understand why I would need self-control in certain situations. That was just like one of the bigger reasons or lessons as to how to deal with self-control.
Yeah.
To me. There's probably other things too. Patience.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about what I learned. I definitely think self-control was a big thing because it's necessary.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I really learned anything, to be honest. Like, I think it was a testament of our relationship. I always talk about waiting until marriage was not possible without someone who was on the same page as me. So I think that definitely showed me that, at least in that area, or we could be on the same page, and that there were times where it's like I was the strong one, times where you were the strong one.
Yeah.
And that's necessary in a relationship, a marriage, that the two of you can get together and accomplish a goal together in that way. So I definitely feel like it showed me something about our relationship in that it's not something that I learned, but we valued sex, right? And I think too often sex is undervalued, and that's why people have sex with a lot of people maybe that they shouldn't have sex with, because they undervalue sex. And I think that was always a priority in our relationship, was that because we valued it, we saved it for marriage. And we enjoyed it in that frame with each other. So I don't think I learned anything. I definitely learned that.
You learned that you could do it.
Yeah. Yes, it was possible. Yep. I learned that it was possible. There you go. That's how I cap it.
Okay. That sounds like a very manly answer.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah. All right. Feel free to ask us any more questions. Again, michelmatters@gmail.com, or any of our socials that we've mentioned already, or you can see up here somewhere. All right, let's move on. Okay, this business spotlight is a place that I think I wanted to try it for a while, but I'm just not that much of a coffee person. I'm more of a tea girl. But it's Black owned, Circle House Coffee in Fort Lauderdale. And it was founded by Stephen Tulloch. I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
Okay, Stephen Tulloch, football player.
Stephen Tulloch. Okay, great. NFL person founded a coffee shop.
Okay.
And it was really cool. They had some of the donuts from Salty Donuts there.
Okay.
And then they had vegan stuff. And I've been really into like matcha lattes now.
That's like your thing.
I never cared for coffee. Like, still don't. But when we were in Savannah, tried a matcha latte, and I was like, oh, this is the coffee that they made just for me. Like, I have an option now. Great. So that's, next time I go, I'm definitely gonna get that. Last time I just got the house latte, and it was really good. Met up with a new friend, I guess, there. I had great conversation. They have outside seating, so during COVID, it's not a problem. Yeah, you don't really care for coffee like that.
I don't, but
they have tea too.
I wouldn't mind an invite.
Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah,
next
you'll
time.
take me now?
Yeah.
All right.
It was just a little girl hangout, so don't think you would have wanted to be there.
That's fine.
But yeah, so you guys can. Was he a good player?
Okay. I mean, he was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he played.
So you guys can support him and, you know, his coffee shop. It does say like like the whole point of the coffee shop was to bring people together while enjoying coffee or beer, wine on tap, and delicious food.
You could invite me there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
There you go. And then he also has a foundation where he gives back to underprivileged kids, helping people, you know, affected by cancer. So
yeah. And I don't want to downplay. He was a good football player.
Okay. Because I was like, well, maybe he's not that good.
No, he was good.
All right. Well, that's the business spotlight. Anything else?
No, man. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Episode 7 in the books.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Peace.
Then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. That you might work. That you might work.